Welcome to the Multi-Woman & Co podcast, the place where we will cross cultures and time for refreshing insights on life, love and leadership. I'm your multicultural host, Kruijff-Gan. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello, welcome back to the Multi-Woman & Co podcast. This is episode number 27, and I published every Sunday an episode, but the last 2 weeks I haven't done that because behind the scenes I'm quite busy with building a website. Yes, Multi-Woman & Co is getting her own website, yay! And I like doing this, but it takes a lot of time, and I'm collecting all articles and photos, and I'm very lucky that my husband is helping me. So he's quite busy with doing the technical stuff, and in the meantime I'm doing the more design stuff. So yeah, I think that's good teamwork. So that's the reason that I haven't published a new episode, and I must say that I'm taking a little break, so until Sunday, May the 9th, which is also Mother's Day. And this episode is different because it's an interview by Arnhem Together. And Arnhem Together is the first English-speaking women's network in Arnhem. And their mission is connecting women from all over the world to feel valued, loved, supported and motivated. And I'm so grateful that I found them last year, and that there was an instant click with the two leading ladies, Renan Edwards and Sophie Collowine-Hopkins. They are really the gems of 2020, because not many of you know that I've complained for many years about living here in the East, that I'm missing the big cities, and that I actually had plans to move back to the other side of the country, the Randstad, because I've lived in Leiden, The Hague and Rotterdam, the big cities, and I'm still a big city girl. A big city girl. I'm not that big, but you know what I mean. And so I told my husband Peter that I'm so happy with a beautiful community of women from around the world, but I also see their role as an organization in the current climate to act as a catalyst to connect women and encourage each other to look and move forward in a positive way. So that's why they organized an online event called Shine Online, Our Stories. And there was an amazing lineup of women, and I was so honored to be part of the online event. So that's why this interview was done by Sophie. And so yeah, I'm sharing how I experienced last year, how I experienced the lockdown and what I've learned about this year. And you can hear also my new mantra of 2021. So listen to this episode. It's only 15 minutes. And if you feel eager to hear more from the other women, please go to the Instagram account of Arnhem Together. I will mention all links in the show notes, so be sure to follow them. I can highly recommend it. So thank you again for listening, and I really appreciate you. So see you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello, I'm Sophie from Arnhem Together, and this interview is part of our Shine Online series in 2021, and our theme is Our Stories, and we're looking at some women are sharing stories of how they've experienced the pandemic for the last year. And I have the pure pleasure of interviewing Claudia from Multi-Woman & Co. She has a series of podcasts where she interviews very empowering and inspiring women about several different themes, mainly under love, life and leadership. But if I can tell you some of the highlights that I found, there's a series about abundance and a series about gratitude. But my personal favourite apart from the one with my friend about living with a child with disabilities, which was very close to my heart because she's a very good friend of mine. But my personal favourite was cultural diversity through the flavours of chocolate. And I highly recommend that you look further for these podcasts. The link will be below. But Claudia will now tell us more about herself, and I will stop talking. Okay, good morning, Claudia. Could you introduce yourself a little and tell us about how you ended up in the Netherlands?
Hey, good morning, and thank you for having me. Yes, like Sophie said, I'm Claudia, and I'm a podcast host for Multi-Woman & Co. It's also a company in one. And I've lived here in the Netherlands since I was 8, so basically the Netherlands is my home country. But I have lived in the West first, in Leiden, The Hague, and Rotterdam, the big cities. And we moved to this area about 12 years ago, which
quite a big difference, the cosmopolitan side and now on the east. How are you finding it?
Well, it was my choice to move to this area, but I really did complain for many years because I missed the city vibe. I'm a city girl, but last year was the first time that I felt really grateful that we are living in this area of the country.
I can understand. It finally paid off after all that waiting.
Yeah, it took some time, but yeah.
But I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm just interested in how you think the lockdown has most affected your life. I mean, it can, from personal, professional perspective, I just want to know, how have you been the last year? Has anything good come out of this for you?
Yeah, for me personally, the lockdown or the pandemic didn't affect me, not in a negative way, more maybe in a positive way, because, well, I am an introvert, and during the first lockdown, during the first lockdown, I felt really comfortable and safe. It was a real coming out for me as an introvert. So that was also the beginning of feeling the urge to do the things that I always said that I would do.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
And so during the pandemic, I also launched a podcast, for example. And of course, they're on a more global or collective level. I see the effects, and which, sometimes really breaks my heart to see what's happening in the world. And in that case, it affects me also, and not only me, of course, but we all are connected. So that is also the more awareness of that you're not alone, that I'm not alone, that basically nobody's really alone. And as we can see, the more collective issues.
It sounds very much like you've taken this as firstly an opportunity to do things that you had obviously thought about for a long time, but also that you've looked out further at the world instead of a lot of people may feel of being in isolation, that feeling of you're on your own, but you've taken it very much in reverse, and you said, look what else is happening out here, and you've really opened yourself to all of that. Is that fair?
Yes, absolutely. And like you said, it's somehow it was for me also a sign, okay, there's so much going on and there's so much work to do when we talk about racism, but also what effects the pandemic has, and the groups are between the groups who are pro-vaccines and anti-vaccines, but I believe there is also a third solution, and it's the middle way. But I think the whole pandemic has speeded up what I was planning to do, and basically it's not because of the pandemic what I was doing.
Okay, so that's very, as you say, a very positive experience that you've had. Like, you've really used this time, to go further than maybe you speeded up your long-term plans, but you've really been creative and had the chance to. You really inspire me. I see all these people coming up with, I've done this, this, and this in the pandemic, and I wish I was that person.
Why?
That you've taken this.
Yeah, but why? Why would you wish that?
I think because then you can look back and you can say that you've used this time to really do something that's important to yourself. And if I could suggest, if I could refer to your amazing ebook that you've published, which I would like to tell people about, is this free online self-care book that you've put together entirely your own doing, and you've made it available for everybody. The link will be below this video, but you've really invested a lot into this, and I think it's marvelous that you've done this for others, to make others find their happy place, I believe are the words that you've used. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, of course. Yes, I created this self-care ebook, and I also call it the mini guide. The easiest mini guide to self-care in minutes. It's based on the 5 senses we all have. Because self-care is something that I really discovered last year, and I saw it for many people, especially for mothers, I think. But what I wanted to do is to create something that is very simple to do, because we sometimes forget how easy things can be done in just a few minutes. I mean, if you can go to the toilet, you have time to do some self-care. And it's something that we are not aware of, but we have to remind ourselves of taking the time. And even by breathing, I just read this sweet quote that every breath is a little love note to your body.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, and I've never seen breathing like that. I mean, I know breathing is the essence of life, right? Because no breath, no life. But if you can see this as little love notes to your body, whatever is happening to you at that moment, it changes everything. I mean, I get now goosebumps because I feel it. And that's why I created the self-care book, because it can be so simple. It's not always easy, because I really understand the busyness when you have children, and maybe even children with special needs, or you don't have children but you have other issues, other problems, stress and anxiety, because what's happening in this world is huge. And there are so many things that are coming up, and I think it's nothing new what's happening now, but it's more visible and more tangible. And thanks to the internet and social media, we see a lot of things. So sometimes you have to protect yourself for the overload on news and what is fake news, and but it's nothing new. And I think we all learned and have seen it thanks to the pandemic, that we have to do something. If you are planning to do something, this is the time to stand up, to speak up. And self-care is basically a practice. What you have to know, it's nothing that you have to do, but it's something you can do to what you can do for yourself. Because if you are planning to give the best of you, you can't give it from an empty vessel. So you have to take care of yourself. So it's a reminder. It's really simple. Maybe some people think, oh, is this everything in this ebook? I mean, this is so, obvious.
I like the fact it's simple. Like, for me, that really appealed. It's very easy just to build it into my normal day. What you were saying is, it's also every breath is a gift, and it's about taking just a moment to acknowledge this and to be in that moment. It's not asking you for an hour. I mean, it's almost impossible at the moment to find an hour to be self-care time, but just to introduce small steps. And I think it's really it's a great resource that you've made available. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Just out of interest, you mentioned when we've talked before about a particular mantra that you had set for yourself for this last year, and I was wondering if you could share it, and if it was which came first, the lockdown or the mantra?
The lockdown, yeah. Basically, this mantra, I started this mantra in January, so this year. And my mantra is, I expand my world, I expand my reality. And meaning it's my inner world, the more subtle world, and the outer world, what's happening outside, the more tangible material world. Because this mantra was born out of partly frustration, but also fear about what's happening in this world when we talk about racism, but also the effects of the pandemic and the people who are speaking up or think they have the right to speak up. And yes, we are privileged that we live in this country and we are free of speech. But sometimes I really feel, a bit angry maybe also, because it's not about whether you're against something or pro something. It's about the bigger picture and the community and the commonwealth. And this mantra helped me to accept what's happening in this world, and to accept also that there are people who are so different. But those people are here, and I think they are also afraid. So that's also for me a reminder. Okay, those people, and I don't improve their behavior, because like racism, it's a no-go for me. It's a zero tolerance. But I have to learn about the cause, and I really need to understand. And that's what I always try to understand, why those people act in a way that
I think that's a really interesting point. You also said earlier about the internet. We're exposed to a lot more information and a lot more news than we used to be. So we also hear more about both sides of the story. So I think it's very grounding and reassuring that you have this mantra to put things into perspective.
It helps me. It helps me a lot. Yeah.
Because we're trying to keep ourselves all efficient. I just want to finish. We could talk for hours, of course. I would like to finish with an idea of, when things are back to normal, whatever that means, what would be the top of your bucket list, do you think?
Yeah, I have one. As soon as it's possible, I want to go to the Chinese restaurant and have a lot of dim sum. Sharing, of course, sharing with friends, family.
You have to, yeah.
But
that sounds like an excellent idea. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time and for your knowledge and wisdom. It's been a real honour to share this platform with you, and I hope that people really take advantage of the resources that you share and follow your podcast, because it's really great listening to all these different stories from women and experiences. So
thank you
so very, very much for all your work. And I see you in real life soon, I hope.
Yeah, let's do that.
Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you liked it, feel free to share it with your friends, family, and colleagues. And if you have time, please rate the Multi-Woman & Co. podcast on iTunes. And of course, I would be delighted to receive 5 stars. If you want to receive notifications for new episodes, don't forget to subscribe on Spotify, iTunes, or Podbean. Thank you for your time and support. And last but not least, take care of you. And as always, wishing you a beautiful day.